on a bike. He uses a massive gear. He cannot respond to the accelerations of men like Armstrong's leaders.
Watch it, wait for it, because Armstrong's building here. Armstrong's realised that Ulrich is in trouble. He's getting round to grab onto the wheel of Acevedo, and once he's got him, we are being treated to the situation of 2 years ago when it was Roberto Heras that looked after Lance Armstrong to the line. He's checking over his shoulder to see...
Armstrong, however, had acquired himself a new shadow, one by the name of Ivan Basso.
Here he goes, he's building up for a move. As he's not seen Ulrich, he's not seen any of them, he thinks, well, I may as well go and try what happens.
Ivan Basso has responded immediately to get onto the wheel of Armstrong. Armstrong now has to assume complete control. He has no teammates left. He used them all over the flat part of this course before we got to the mountains. Ivan Basso, let's not forget this man has finished 5th overall in the Tour de France and been the best young rider as well. He leapt across to the wheel of Armstrong. Armstrong has not got the big gap that we've seen him get in recent years, but certainly that was a serious acceleration.
He would be looking for stage win number 17 if he gets it. Basso is giving him a long lead out. Armstrong hasn't done a thing about it. Basso gets the stage win. Armstrong gets the same time, a small second place bonus. And look at this, as we hit the line, it's going to be 2:26 for Jan Ullrich. And now it's mano a mano, Armstrong and Basso, as it was yesterday. And I don't think today Armstrong will allow Basso to win, which he never did yesterday. It just didn't matter so much. And this is it. Armstrong is waiting to the last moment. He's taken no chances here. He's driving to the line now. Armstrong with a Plateau de Baille like it was 2 years ago. And the covered yellow jersey waiting. Armstrong wins. The crowd are cheering all of the way. Basso crosses the line in second place. They could now be first and second in the Tour de France.
Armstrong is prepared. Look at that. He's on the large chain ring and he's got right across to the left-hand side. He's actually thinking about getting himself the win here. The other riders in the group are on the small chain ring. If this comes down to the acceleration, Armstrong is in the correct gear as we look at him.
You look at him pushing and blowing there. He wants to stay in his slipstream as long as he can, but he's got to watch Basso doesn't buck him in, because now I think Jan Ullrich must go on the inside. He's having to follow Basso's wheel, and Armstrong's got to go. Armstrong has got to take on Ivan Basso. Ullrich is trying to break him as they go round the final bend, taking it wide. That will throw Ullrich off his pace. Lance Armstrong is going to take the stage. He had to do it. He holds on as we get the 1-2 in the Alps we had in the Pyrenees. Armstrong, yes. And in second place it was Ivan Basso. Third was Jan Ullrich.
Look at the counter-attack from Kloden now. They've got to respond.
No reaction. No reaction. The race just got won here by Andreas Kloden. It's all over. As Kloden goes up to the line now, it's not going to be far to the finish. There is a time gap, but the man in yellow is running at him with that usual determination. Ullrich is in the slipstream. Armstrong is coming with an incredible rush, and Kloden has realised it too late. Is there any stopping Lance Armstrong in this Tour de France? And the answer is no, there is not.
So 2004, far from being a continuation of his uncertain form from 2003, was in fact Lance Armstrong's most brilliant demonstration yet of the art of bike racing.
Lance is going to leave this Tour de France into retirement, having led his team to the fastest ever time trial in the history of the event. Here they come now.
Posties no more, but brilliant they certainly still were.
57.31 kilometres an hour.
Week 2 and into the mountains. Would the challenge collapse on the early slopes as it had done a year before? Would Basso be left to take the battle to Armstrong by himself? Vinokourov, a serious contender for Armstrong's crown, was one rider who found himself having to mount a challenge all alone.
This now, he sees the climb and he breaks away again. Can you believe that, with Alexander Vinokourov launching an attack just like that as he goes through Axleter? He's been on the back of that group for less than a kilometre and he's at it again.
It's Team Mobile who are on the front there chasing him down. Andreas Kloden is setting the tempo behind Alexander Vinokourov. Phil, that is pathetic teamwork. They are looking at a man who I'm convinced now is going to change teams in the winter transfer season.
I wouldn't disagree, and in fact the rumour is he's going to ride for Lance Armstrong's team next year. Ullrich has cracked, he's gone, Ullrich has done it all, and he's just fallen back. This was his big effort, and it hasn't worked. He has dropped off.
But this is the big battle now for second and third place. Wearing number 1, Armstrong is putting time between himself and everybody else in the field here this afternoon, except Ivan Basso, the man who accompanied him last year.
Armstrong leading up. Is he going to unleash one of his fearsome finishes? Showing a banner, he goes for it. Basso's not going to take him. Lance Armstrong sprints away, and just look, he's going to get a time gap here. He'll be measured with a time gap as he drives to the line. Yellow is second. Lance Armstrong stays leader of the Tour de France, and tonight increases his advantage over everyone.
Armstrong was unassailable in yellow. The final individual time trial was once again an opportunity to bang the final nails into the coffins of his challengers' ambitions and to leave the Tour on a victorious high.
It is the picture we will never see again. All of the following cars behind a rider in yellow we've come to know since 1999, the master of the race of truth. He brings it to an end as a winner. The first ever stage he has won this year, the first bike race he has won this year. Armstrong wins the time trial and wins the Tour de France.
And finally, the last thing I'll say for the people that don't believe in cycling, the cynics and the skeptics, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry you can't dream big, and I'm sorry you don't believe in miracles. But this is one hell of a race. This is a great sporting event, and you should stand around and believe. You should believe in these athletes, and you should believe in these people. And I'm a fan of the Tour de France for as long as I live, and there are no secrets. This is a hard sporting event, and hard work wins it. So, vive le Tour. Forever. Thank you.
There's a temptation when a great sportsman retires to say that you'll never see his like again. But in the case of Lance Armstrong, that may very well be true. For my money, Eddie Merckx is still the greatest bike rider I've ever seen. No one before or since has had such an appetite for winning. And the thing was, he wasn't that picky about his victories. It could have been a small criterium race anywhere in Belgium, or the Tour de France itself. Armstrong is different. For him, bike racing is the Tour de France. Winning it put everything else into the shade. He didn't exhaust himself in countless other events like Merckx, or if he did, it was only in preparation for the Tour itself. Consequently, the world's greatest bike race and one of the world's greatest athletes were joined in an embrace that lasted for 7 years. He didn't have eyes for anyone else, and in return, he has been given immortality. Something that he first began dreaming of on that day in 1996, when a doctor told him that death itself might lie just around the next bend. Chapeau, Lance Armstrong. Now, how on earth do you follow that?